Justin, and today we're going to be doing a pad slap on all four wheels of this 2015 Subaru Forester. Should be a whole lot of fun. Let's get started. The first step is going to be to get all four wheels off the ground. Nothing to it. And now we're secure. Taking off the wheels, nothing to it. Take a 19mm socket, preferably one of these ones with a plastic shield around it so you don't ruin the wheels. 80-gallon compressor is nice too. Let's pop all four wheels off and keep on working. So now that we have all four wheels off the ground and the tires and wheels off the vehicle, we're going to go to our front passenger side wheel, and we're going to take this 14mm gear wrench and take off our two slide bolts. Should be nothing to it. So once you have the top one done and the bottom one undone, this little guy yanks off and put it in a safe place so you're not putting pressure on that hose. Then these are pads. Shimmy them back and forth. Pop right out. Let's continue on. So now that we got our caliper off, we're going to swing it right back on top of this rotor here and balance it. We're going to push these pistons back in so that our new brake pads fit. So we're going to use a handy tool like this to push them both evenly and back into the caliper. Now they should go very smooth. If you have to put a lot of pressure on this, you're probably going to need a new caliper. But this one, as you can see, I'm using barely any pressure at all. It's going nice and easy. So our next step here, we're going to lube all of our mating points. Anywhere where metal is going to meet metal, but not the braking surface. So we're going to put a little bit on each of our pistons here for the caliper. And we also want to get the back where the pad's going to meet this caliper as well. Now a lot of guys will actually put this all over the back of the outside pad, but it gets dusty and it's not really good. And then we're also going to want to lube these slides up. These should move very easily, by the way. If these don't move easily, you're going to want to sand them or get a new caliper bracket. So we're going to lube these up, put them all back together, and then we have little hardware shims in here, and we're going to pull those off as well. So now that we have the hardware off, we want to take a good look at the channels that these brake pads ride in and make sure we don't have a whole lot of rust. Because what will happen is that'll keep the pads from moving freely and you'll end up burning out your brakes a lot quicker than you usually would. Another thing to take note is that the shim on the bottom has a wing versus your shim on the top, which doesn't have anything. Just make sure that you put the shims back in the right place and make sure you lube them up very well too. Now, to lube them up, we're going to want to get both surfaces. So we're going to want to get it right in these channels here. We're also going to want to get a little bit on the backs here. Don't have to go too crazy, but you want to lube them up enough so that they don't make noise when you put all this back together. Then, we're ready to piece this thing back together. So when putting these in, take note that you got the bottom of the clips here, and they're going to kind of get in the way. So you're going to want to twist it forward and spin it in. Nothing to it. So now that we slipped our caliper on, we're going to put these last bolts back in, finish up the other side, and move to the back. Now that our fronts are done, we're going to get to the back here, and we're going to use our 14mm gear wrench, take off our two slide bolts, and do basically the same thing. Pop out the pads, lubricate everything. So these rears went really, really easy, so I didn't film a lot of it because I just knocked it all out. But remember, you want to pull these guys out. There are slide pins. Make sure they're nice and greased. Make sure you grease both sides of your hardware. Now I'm going to push this piston back in. I'm going to lube this up here and lube up the back side as well. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side and get the wheels back on. Nothing to it. So now we have all 4 wheels back on. We're going to lower the car and we're going to torque it to 89 foot-pounds and take it for a spin. Alright guys, so once the wheels are back on and everything's torqued up and tight, you're going to want to pump the brake pedal a few times and then take it for a spin and check for noise. Now we did reuse the old rotors, and sometimes if you reuse the old rotors you end up with a little bit of hiss noise for the first couple days. And that's just the old rust jacking that was coming off the rotor getting burned off by the new pads. So right now it's sounding pretty quiet, and any slight hissing should be gone in the next few days. If not, we're going to come back and replace the rotors, but I feel like we're pretty good to go. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.